But people again have a problem that, okay, in 8 hours, we don't get time. What we should after,
Right.
right? See, this
They
is
don't
your
have that
career,
much of
right?
like motivation.
That is your career, right? It
Hmm.
is you who has to take in control of it. So now coming to our original question, that playwright and the language part, if you have to use any tool, playwright can be written, right, or consumed in any of the languages, Java,
Right.
JavaScript, and all other languages. So try to understand, if you have to consume playwright, there is a specific thing that you have to learn first. To be
Exactly.
prepared, you need to learn Git, right? Let's say GitHub, right? Then you need to know about, let's say, Linux, right? As an operating system, as a
Hmm.
language, like how it works, right? Then you should go
Hmm.
for, let's say, Docker, right? You should understand like how
Hmm.
Docker works,
Right.
provides, and how
Hmm.
those containers are talking to each other, the volume mapping, the
Hmm.
networking, and all that, right?
You need to learn new things. You need to explore new ideas. So if you don't feel that much of pressure, if you don't have that much of curiosity, you can't learn new things. You can't innovate new ways.
Absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. That zeal has to be there. That energy has to be there. You can get, maybe you will get some questions from it, but the
Hmm.
actual things, right, are lying in the books which you were given on day one of your joining the that session, which is
Hmm.
the reference
Right.
books, right, where all the knowledge are residing, right? So
Hmm.
try to follow that same process in the industry, not as that industry, right? You should try to look from the real source of knowledge, right? Which is the
Hmm.
inventor or the creator who designed it. No one knows better than him. No one knows better than
Hmm.
the company who generated it. Try to learn
Right.
things from there first.
Hey everyone, welcome to Tech Unfiltered with Manish. Today we have Akhil with us. So Akhil, so why don't you introduce yourself from your own, and then we will talk about your journey and everything.
Sure, sure. First of all, thank you, Manish, for having me. Hi, everyone. My name is Akhil Jain. I have 13 years of experience in the software testing field. You might have heard about me from the name of Podtest. What I usually do is I'm currently provide boot camps and learnings, right, from various areas of testing, automation. Also, apart from it, right. So this is like Podtest which is my own platform where I teach and all, where I conduct boot camps and sessions and everything. Apart from it, I also have my Java with Selenium course on TestTribe. Similarly, my presence on YouTube through my channel at the rate podcast again, where again I'm providing the content around automation that is for free. And I mean, this is from my learning journey till now. I mean, from my teaching and learning journey. So I have taught more than 2,500 people across different platforms and different skill sets. This is like from this is what my passion is about. I enjoy teaching and all. And apart from it, I'm myself doing a job, and I'm currently working with a company, and there, yes, I'm working on the testing space. So yeah, that's my
Yeah.
journey as of now.
That's great, Akhil. So how do you started in the testing, or is it like pure functional testing, or like from the starting you are working on to the automation side? So how do you started, and how much experience do you have currently? Can you walk through your journey into the like corporate, and how you have like to your current positions, and how you have learned the automations?
Okay, sure, sure. See, my journey started in 2011. I'm not coming from CS or IT background. I'm someone coming from EC background, which is electronics and communication background. And in those days, right, I mean, not only in those days, even today, I see that companies, or let's say the colleges, right, they don't allow students from other branches to sit for the IT companies who come for the placements. So that was the case for me also. So I mean, none of our batch, right? Students from our batch were allowed to sit for the companies like Infosys, TCS, and other companies who were coming for this. And we all know, right? As a fresher, when we're trying to join, I mean, these are the companies who pays like a good amount of money, at least for the freshers, to start with, if we compare it to EC and mechanical. So again, that was not my motive to come into the IT. My motive has been very clear from beginning that I wanted to be a part of IT. Yes, my motive was not to get into software testing. That happened by chance. So
Hmm.
what I did was like I applied for a company since my college did not allow me to sit for the placements from the college placement cell, right? What I did was I get to know about one of my seniors who was again from the same branch, EC branch, and he was working for a company in Sector 64 Noida. The company name was Sopra. So
Hmm.
I came to know about him, and he said that why don't you provide me the resume, and I can refer you over there. I did not knew like this can also be a possibility. So I came to know about it. So I then provided my resume to him, and I was going for the interview then. So I was called for the interview based on my resume. The interviews was more around like, I think, Java and data structures and all. It went very well. Even the managers over there appreciated like me coming from the AC background, knowing all the stuff. So they hired me. And I was thinking now I will be a software engineer. But when I joined on day one, right, they said that, okay, no, we have like 200 people joining us. So we have categorized people into different buckets. Some people got SAP, someone got C Sharp, someone got Java. So we were lucky 20 who got testing. So my journey started from there. So, and even within those 20, right, even within those 20, there was a sub bucket, automation and manual. I was a part of manual. So that is how the journey started.
Okay. So when have you like started using automation or started learning it?
Okay. See, as I said, right, my intention was always to be in the IT field, right? To be a software engineer. I did not knew
Right.
like what really happens in the company, what really happens and what people really do. So when I got the role, right, I was excited. Okay, I got something, right? Although when I joined and came to know, okay, I'm given being testing, right? And 20 other people, right, who got the same thing, right? I saw like a nervous, right? A nervous face on all of them. And I was not aware like why they're feeling that way. So I checked with them, like, what is wrong here, right? So they told, no, man, we got software testing and others are getting the opportunity to be a developer. So I think then I asked them, right, is software testers not developers? Don't they work in IT? So then picture started getting cleared up, right? Okay, there are two different types of roles, right, which we have. Someone who develops things, and there is a second bucket, right, where people gets to verify things which are being developed.
Right.
But again, I was in the assumption that, okay, things are like, okay, they might be doing something around IT only, right? But again, as we started working, I came to know, okay, no. I mean, at that point of time, right, 2011, right, it was no Selenium, it was nothing over there, right? There was just
Right.
a couple of paid tools like QTP and UFT, right, which used to run over there at that time. And that too were very pricey, right? It was not that everyone could be given a chance to use those tools.
Right.
So, I mean, I again got to know about it on a later point of time, but that is how the journey started. So, I was assigned to a project where I was given the role of a manual tester, and there was one guy who was given the role of an automation tester. Now, I was always, I mean, from day one, right, I felt that thing, right? Okay, there is something bigger than this or smaller than this. Like that comparison came to my head, right? I mean, it's not like I'm saying that manual is inferior or it is superior. I'm not saying that part, but you get that feeling from like how people treat you, right? So
Right.
and again, right, based on my aspirations also, right, I was thinking that I will be going to the IT company and doing something, right, and developing something. And what I was doing, I was given a requirement document, right, to read from, and then start reading through it and get to know the testing process and all. And I was told that this is your job. You need to write test cases. You need to, I mean, scan the application, right, and go through the flows and understand it and write your test cases in Excel sheet. Then at that point of time, it clicked my head. Okay, this is why they are saying, okay, this is manual and this is something like some same thing can be done through the automation, but you are not that guy who will be doing it, right? So, I mean, I think it took me 2-3 days to understand that part. After that, right, I think I was blessed to have a very good manager. He's someone, right, whom you can look as a role model, right? So he was always very encouraging. So he told me that okay, Akhil, like you are doing this manual testing and all, right, but don't just limit yourself to this part. Explore outside, see like what is happening around you, right, and accordingly make a judgment like what you should be doing. And that motivation, right, which I got from him, like really helped me. I started looking outside. I came to know, okay, there is something called performance testing, which people use through HP Loadrunner. Again, a very paid tool, but it's a different category of things. And through automation, we were using QTP and UFT. So, I mean, that is from where I came to know about it. And I can tell you, right, within next 4 months, I was in automation. And again, to get that automation in 2011 was because like you will have to prove yourself by learning it first, and then even showcasing on your application, which the application you're working on, right? So you had to automate something and showcase it to someone. I started doing it. I started demoing it, right? I sat in front of a team and I showed like what I did, and they were impressed. And my manager was impressed. I don't know, like I don't still if I think about it, I think like I did not do a very good job over there. But still, he was impressed with the process. Like I took the initiative myself and did the things, right? So I think he was
Yep.
looking for a person who can be like a self-doer, right? Rather than someone who needs a hand holding, right, to do things. So I think that worked in my favor. So then I was given a chance to work on all the automation specs, right? And that person, right, was moved to the other team. So that is how the journey started in 3 to 4 months once I joined. So yes, I worked
Right,
for
right.
purely on functional for like, I mean, 3, 4 months. And after that, everything started on the automation side.
Yeah, certainly one thing like that can be a good advice to the people who are like starting their career into the companies and they thought like they don't have that much of exposure to the automation testing. They need to do that small things on
Hmm.
their own and do some kind of like POCs, present to your managers, present to your team leads and show them like you can do that part and you are much into automation space and you know the stuff you want to do that stuff and then you can ask like give me a project where I can hands on some automation things and if anything is required into the automation space I am open to it. So this can be like great advice because most of the time people comes and they say like we don't have experience in automation because we are not getting a chance to work onto the automation side, but that's how like you will initiate those discussions with your team leads, with your managers. Look, I am learning those stuff, I am learning automation, I am learning these tools, these technologies. How can I contribute into the project? How can we make it more better so that like my skills will be more beneficial for the team? So
No, absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. That is how it should
mhm.
be. And I think it is very easy, right, in these days, right, to do all of this. In
Right, right,
2011,
right.
I was dependent on being provided a license from the
Hmm.
company to work on UFT, right? It was all
Right.
license based, right? Today, it's
Hmm.
all open source. You have to learn VB script at that point of time because of the QTB setup and all. And you need
Hmm.
an application to work on. I mean, everything was controlled, right, by the system. But
Right.
today, in today's time, everything is freely available. You can just start using Java, right, on Selenium and start doing things. You could use JavaScript to do something on the JavaScript based framework side, like WebDriver, IO Play,
Hmm.
right? Who stops anyone, right? But
Right, right, right.
what the problem I feel right in today's part is people have a very short span, right, of attention, and
Hmm.
they don't value like the time, right? Which I mean they will have to put into to get learn something, right? They want everything
Exactly.
quickly, so that's a problem.
Hmm.
They need to work on
Yeah.
that.
So they want every time like they want a quick fix. They want the results very immediately. It's not like today you will tell your manager or team lead like look I'm into automation and I want to work on. So sometimes it take times because you do not have that much of you can say human resources to put that part onto the automation. You don't have that much of requirements. You also need to go for the upper management, so your team lead have like a connect with the higher management, or sometimes if you are working for a client, so you need to put some efforts. It may take some time, but you need to be patient and keep learning those concepts.
Absolutely right, right. I mean that is how it should be. But again, right?
Hmm.
Again, I'm saying, right? In those days, everything was controlled. You did not get the access to the project code
Right,
also,
right,
right?
right.
It was like, okay, only few of them will get access because you might mess up something. Today, right? Everything is so open, right? You get access to
Hmm.
every code and everything, right? You couldn't check the unit test cases from the developer side. Who stops you? No one
Hmm.
stops, right? You get a
Exactly.
view, read only access, and you can do all of that. It's only based on your interest, right? And
Hmm.
and again, right, that is one thing. Second thing is like people have a very social peer pressure, right? Okay, someone is doing this, maybe I should be doing at that same pace. But they
Right.
what they fail to realize is that other person, if someone is doing something right, he would have put some effort, right, and time on the right approach to reach there.
Hmm.
It's not an overnight thing, right, which would have happened with the
Hmm.
person. So that needs to be looked into, and nothing can happen overnight. You need good enough amount of time to get settled and to practice. Right, listening also does not help. You have to practice
Yeah.
yourself. Right.
Exactly.
So
So
that
you need to do hands down to those things. You should practice. So that's like one thing. If you want to learn something, you need to like start doing that part. You need to start hands on on those frameworks, on those programming language. So without like doing anything, you can't learn anything.
and one last thing, right, on this, right? See, we are all into the engineering domain, right? We are all engineers, right?
Hmm.
What do engineers do, right? In the I think the role, the essence of engineering is that you should know like how the things are working. Otherwise,
Hmm.
why I mean, how good you engineer are, right? I mean, if you understand from that point, right? Remember, right, when we
Right.
were
Right.
kids, we used to see, okay, how this fridge is working, right? We might starts
Exactly.
screwing out,
That
right? This
that
the all the stuff.
curiosity, you
Right,
need
right,
those curiosity.
right. You need to have it, and you need to know like how to find the answers, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
not that anyone is sitting like beside you to provide all your answer, right? Take the, I mean, in today's world, use the power of Chat GPT, right? Use the power of
Exactly.
Copilot. You can just ask your query. You don't need me, you don't need Manish, right, to answer the query.
Mm-hmm.
You can
Mm-hmm.
just use those resources. We did not had them, right, when we started. But today,
Right,
when I'm
right.
using them, I feel so blessed. I feel so
Mm-hmm.
blessed because of these things which exist right now, and they saves me a lot of time. I just
Mm-hmm.
go back and ask my query promptly, and I get the answer, and then I'm
Exactly.
satisfied. Okay, I saved some time.
Mhm.
So that
Right,
is how
right,
it should
right.
be.
So, yeah, certainly, like now resources are like easily available that are not there back in the time. Also, like from this, like I want to ask one more question. So, you have been now working from last 13 years, or it will be 14 in like few months. So, what are the like major changes you have observed in your career? Like, is it like automation? Is it AI or something like which have like changed your thinking towards the testing and how you will do your work?
See, again, I think being in IT, right, it's a constant evolution, right, which is happening, right? As I am
Mm-hmm.
again saying, right, when I started, everything was licensed, it was controlled, right? Then
Right.
that got away because Selenium came into the picture, and
Mm-hmm.
everyone was equipped to learn Java, which is again free thing to use, right? And then you have Selenium now, right, which you could use,
Mm-hmm.
and now you are not dependent on your up manager's approval. Okay, once he gives me the approval, only then I will start, right? No. So that
Mm-hmm.
was the major shift which I felt as part of my career, that I did not had those boundaries, right? I could do things at
Yep.
my end at my personal time, even on weekends or maybe after the office hours or before office hours or whenever I get time, right? So, but again, it depends on my willingness whether I want to
Mm-hmm.
put that effort or not. So that is one thing, right? First of all, that license thing to that free open source part, right? I think that was a major change which I see in my career. Second thing is like the things getting constantly evolving. So earlier
Mm-hmm.
it was UFT, then we moved to Java based, I mean Selenium frameworks and all, right? Today, if we see, right, majority of the hirings and the project side are based on JavaScript side, JavaScript, TypeScript, right? You have Playwright. I mean, you have automation frameworks based on those areas. This is not even today. I am saying about I started working on JavaScript maybe 5 years back, 6 years back, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's not that it started today, but if you would see the most of the opportunities, very good opportunities are in these areas. They companies are looking for people, right, who knows all this. And
Mm-hmm.
again, right, if you move ahead, right, from last 2, 3 years, right, we have been seeing the use of AI into everything, right? Although, although I still feel like in testing, right, we have a very long way to go. I mean, if you ask me, right, I don't know, like I have not explored the real use cases of AI into the testing. It's not like I can say that I have a AI tool which I can say, okay, go and automate this application for me. No, that does not exist, right? That does not exist.
Mm-hmm.
You might get some, I mean, let's say you get the auto healing feature of your locators, right? Let's say you will be able to write some prompts to, let's say, to say that, okay, check me, give me the code for verifying like number of items in the page and all that, right? So this is the advance, right, which you're getting. So I think this is what the trend is about. And I think people, but again, when I'm saying all this, what I'm trying to say is it's not that you have to just be on generative AI and all. No, what I'm trying to
Mm-hmm.
say is because of this generative AI being availability today, the people, right, who will have really have the core concepts, right, with them, the value would be for them. Okay, because if you don't understand the things and you think that okay, I have a generative AI and I will ask a query and get the answer, and you could just copy paste it over there, maybe your job would, I mean, that task would get complete, right? But it is not
Right.
helping in your career, right? You
Mm-hmm.
are making a problem for the future use. Not if not today, maybe for the future use, right? So always start from the basics. Keep keep refining them. And if you think there is something missing, go back and rework again. That is how it should be. And I think that will keep happening even for next or 30, 40 years, right? Whatever this time we can see. So it should be that way, right?
So this is something like you can copy and paste the code from the Gen AI or like ChatGPT, and certainly like it will give you great code. But suppose you have to change something, you need to do some alterations. Then again, you need to like have a conversation of half an hour with the ChatGPT to find out like how I can change that part, how it can be like more generic, how I can improve that thing. But this is something, if you have expertise, you can do that in a in a single minute. Suppose you just need to add some parameters, or you just need to change some values of the parameters. So it is something like, if you have that expertise, you are more equipped with the weapons like ChatGPT or Copilot. But if you don't have those expertise, you cannot rely on them.
No, absolutely correct, right? And also there's a difference, right? Working on a single file and working on an entire project are two different things.
Hmm.
You might
Exactly.
get an answer for a file, right? Okay, I need to generate a code for, let's say, for a particular activity. You might get it, right? But how to fit it
Hmm.
into a framework? Your framework is
Hmm.
not just a single file. It has a lot of components, right? How this component is talking to the other part, how the layering is working on the automation framework, how you have set up, how the setup looks like. Generative, you're not providing your automation code directly to generative AI. Okay, now this is my code, have a look into it. First of all, right, I don't
Right.
think any
Right.
companies allows to do that, that you can just provide it. And I'm not even sure, like, even if you do that, what output will you get from that code? It will get to know about your code, but I don't think we have that capability as of now. That you can ask, okay, I have this framework. Now go and build me like 7, 8 different test cases for this particular functionality. That's not feasible, right? You will have to know the how the layering is happening, how the components are talking, what are the basic concepts of the
Hmm.
language, which if even if you are given an answer from the code perspective, how to fit it into your framework. To do all
Right.
of that, it requires some core concepts and knowledge, which people should really value more than this generative AI and all, or maybe that copy
Hmm.
pasting. Right? We again, as I said, it's because of the quick success, right, which people are after, and that is where the problem is. You
Hmm.
can't be good in the IT field if you don't work on your core thing, which is the clarity of the concepts and everything. So it should be always there. So yeah, that should be there, and even only that part can help anyone. So that is how it is.
Exactly. Yeah. So, well explained, Akhil. So, let's move to a bit more into the things. Suppose someone is starting their career in 2025, or if you will be there, so if you will be starting your career from the start, so what will be your progression path?
See, if I have to, let's say, I have to redo things right at my end, and let's say I'm restarting my career, right, and I don't know anything
Hmm.
beforehand, and let's say
Right.
I got some wisdom from someone, right, and then I need to decide. So my first thing would be to get clear, right, with the testing process and all, right, and the quickest way,
Hmm.
right, to get through that testing methodology and everything is to maybe sit for a IS2QB certification exam. Okay, that is
Hmm.
something I think that's very, I don't know, like people can have different opinions on certification and all. I mean, even I am not someone, right, who is very pro about it, that okay, you should go for a certification. But ISTQB, I feel,
Hmm.
has a value, right? In not in terms of the certification, but in the terms of the content which it provides you, right? The kind of knowledge it gives you back.
Hmm.
I'm not saying go and
Exactly.
give an I'm not saying that go and give the exam. I'm just saying prepare for the exam. Prepare for the exam, you will get to know about what should be learned as a process, what are different things in testing, what are different terminologies and all. That's a very good start for anyone to start in the software
Hmm.
domain. And there are a lot
Right.
of YouTube channels out there for people who might look to maybe apply for it or prepare for it. You can go directly to the ISTQB site. They have prepared the syllabus, which is like a 50,
Right.
20,
All the
40,
content.
50 pages, 40, 50 pages kind of a
Hmm.
syllabus. And I'm sure who is starting the career, they are used to reading that kind of a document because they are coming from the colleges
Hmm.
directly, right? So they might have seen like
Exactly.
500 pages book. So 50 pages is nothing for people to read through,
Hmm.
right? So I think that can give you a very good solid start in the testing space and get you started over there. Then I would say, at least what I see in the industry right now, the based on the demand of the jobs and everything, right? I feel people should start with JavaScript. People might say that
Hmm.
okay, let Akhil, like I should start with Java, but again, I'm saying it's your decision to start with. But what I'm saying is the trending thing, the thing which can get you, I mean, early success in your career
Hmm.
would be this area: TypeScript,
Right.
JavaScript, and then okay. When I'm saying this, try to be a pro in these languages. And on this
Hmm.
part, I would also add. Today, I see like people say that as a tester, you should not try to become a developer. People say
Hmm.
this. Okay, what are the boundaries? I am someone who is very against those. I mean, people who says this, right? Okay, that tester should know this only, and developer should know more, right? I am not of that opinion. I feel there should not be any boundary. There is no boundary for anyone. If you, I mean,
Hmm.
more you know about the language, right, or a stuff, it's more good for you. I think that is what we should always point to, and I mean, we should also guide others. Okay, there are people in industry on LinkedIn and everywhere where if you say something about this part, they come handy with different tools and weapons with their hand, and they say, oh, you are spoiling testing, and people should restrict themselves to the testing processes part. I mean, I don't
Right.
get that point. I am strongly against all of them, and I feel like they should not preach anyone about this. They should say that, okay, it's good to have that knowledge on the testing process and all, but equip yourself with everything which you can get. You never know what your career progression can get to. Maybe tomorrow, based on your skill, you might land up in the developer space, maybe based on your interest. See, right? I'm trying to say it's not that 10, 15 years kind of a career. You have a 40, 50 years of career to play through. What you sow today, I mean, that is what you will be reaping, right? After a while. So again, what I'm trying to say is work on your core languages, pick up any language and be a pro on it. My recommendation would be JavaScript or TypeScript, right? Once you learn JavaScript, you have to learn TypeScript because the automation frameworks which will come after this would be based on TypeScript. So that is my progression would be start with Playwright as an automation framework and equip yourself to use Copilot as much as you can, right? If you have these skill sets right under your belly, plus the API testing, right? Learn how API testing works, right? And all the stuff. And if you know about these, I think you're in a very good space. You would be under. I mean, I think you would be in a very good space within the whole family of the automation testers. So you would be considered like in the pro area.
Good. So let me repeat it or like summarize it for the viewers. So first you need to learn the fundamentals of testing and ISTQB, not the certification, the ISTQB syllabus is the best way to learn those things. Second part is your programming language. So someone who is starting in 2025. So according to you, JavaScript is the best one because market is like flourishing with the JavaScript frameworks and tools.
Absolutely correct.
And mostly it's because of Playwright, right?
Right.
So learn JavaScript with Playwright and then try to understand the TypeScript part and inside like the JavaScript, how you can play with the TypeScript also. Then learn the API testing to complement your browser automation, right? So this can be a great start for someone who will be like starting in the 2025. And what do you say, like how much time it will take? So someone who is good into like learning and understanding, what is the ideal time span he should consider to like get those skills? So because people think like these are the things of like I will learn it in 15 days, I will learn it in 10 days. So what do you say, like how it will take to master those skills in like probably in 3 months or something? So what do you suggest?
I would suggest, right? I mean, first of all, do it sequentially. It should not be that you should be trying to do everything at the same time, because you will get, I mean, too much on your head then. So I would suggest, right, start with manual testing, okay? Because that learning of the testing processes and methodology, right, is very crucial. Otherwise, if you don't know them, right, and you feel like, okay, I should be doing automation from day one, which is fine with me, right? I'm not someone who's against it. But what I feel is that without knowing what actual testing is all about, you try to do something with it is not good. So what I would suggest is like go through that certification first. And I'm saying people can cover that thing in 7 to 10 days, that syllabus part. I don't think it requires more than that. You can get to that. We are coming from the 4 years of BTech degree, right? So I am sure people have that acumen, right, to grasp all that thing, right, in that time, and at least be aware about the stuff, right? And then, right, go to if you get the opportunity to work somewhere, right, or maybe do try to see, right, how these concepts of testing are being applied in the real world. And I think that can be done. If you have the focus and if you have the attention span of a good time and you're sitting in a project, you can get clarity of all this within a month. I feel like at least within a month, you should be very good to know, okay, how things are flowing, how the requirement document is generated and then given to, like, how it flows from that cycle, what is our role in that part, and how things move. Once you get through that cycle, and the agile process also. Agile process, I think we all should be knowing it because that is what is used everywhere. So at least you'll get to know the customary thing which is used in the project. So you know how to interact with everyone. So that is one thing. So in a month span, I feel that should be completed. After that, let's say you don't know anything. JavaScript is a very, I would not say, I mean, if people are coming from Java background, they would find JavaScript to be very unrelated, right? It's not easy to let's say what we see is like every language is a OOPS
Not
language,
a
right?
like beginner friendly kind of thing. So if someone is like starting and Python is something like which they found very beginner friendly, but Java and JavaScript not that much of beginner friendly, but it's I found it like more easy than Java, but a bit hard from Python. It's kind of like intermediate.
I think when it comes to Java, right, Java is more structured. So you know like
Hmm.
what is your linear progression of learning, right? That okay, if you learn
Right,
this,
right.
then the next step is this, then next step is this, then next step
Hmm.
is this, right? So in Java, that is how the things moves, right? If you have learned about
Right.
what is a class and object, right? Then you can think about doing the abstraction and all the other stuff, right?
Hmm.
To understand from the process point of view. With
Right.
JavaScript, things are very different. Things are very different, right?
Hmm.
You have to maybe we will have different layers over there. Maybe you will start on
Hmm.
this layer first and get some concepts around it. Then you will start on this layer and then you will get something. Then the next layer, and you will keep on building
Hmm.
them. And ultimately, you will
Yeah.
start realizing that they all are merging, and then you get that linear path. So it's not
Hmm.
very straightforward because the way it works is very different. You have to know a lot of internals about it. But but again, right? I'm saying there are a lot of people in the industry who tries to say that, okay, why automation engineers need to know the in-depth part of JavaScript, right? What they say is go and just understand like how promise is handled. Okay, great. Go and learn like how to create functions. Oh, very good. And go and learn like how
Hmm.
to use let, constant, where, and also understand like there is an interview question coming up. Tell them like what is the difference between all three, right? And that is enough for you, right? If you know all these three things, I think you're good to start with JavaScript. I think that is a very bad advice to anyone, right? Because you need to understand the science behind everything. Okay, we are engineers. I'm again saying, right,
Exactly.
we should understand like how
Hmm.
things are working. So JavaScript, like I mean, if I give my example, I'm recently conducting a JavaScript bootcamp, right, for all the estates.
Hmm.
I don't see like anyone doing that in the industry currently. So I think, there is a gap, right? There's a gap. There's a huge gap in the understanding of JavaScript, like how it internally works. I'm trying my
Hmm.
best to come up with all the learnings. It took me almost 1.5 months. Okay, 45 working days. In the if I talk about the timeline, right, it was like 30 classes
Hmm.
of 2.5 hours each, right, which was happening on a daily basis. And now I can say that
Hmm.
I was able to cover something, right, which I really wanted to pass on to the students. And people try to
Right.
cover all this, right? I'm not saying all this, but they try to cover only two, three topics in just 2 days, right? And people feel, okay, we know JavaScript. No, man,
Hmm.
this is very highly unmistaken part. But if people have gone through that process, right, of understanding the stuff in JavaScript, I can bet, I can really bet you are making a good progress in your career because that
Hmm.
language will take you miles. It's not like Java. JavaScript, if you see the people who are efficient in JavaScript, right, are very few, are very few. And if you are
Hmm.
coming from a QA background, right, being an estate, and if you know this language very well, and you will be able to control things in your project, I think you have a very upper edge against everyone, right, within the team. So
Right.
that could be a very good start.
Hmm.
And then, right, move ahead to learn TypeScript. Okay, so the answer to the question, right, how much time does it need for JavaScript? I would say JavaScript itself needs 2 months. Okay, 2 months to know about JavaScript itself. And TypeScript needs only 15 days to learn everything because TypeScript is just a wrapper on JavaScript. It does not have
Right.
any additional things to it. It's just that convenient way of writing code for the people who are coming from Java background so that they know.
Hmm.
So because they are accustomed to write things in classes and objects kind of a flavor, right, and interfaces and
Hmm.
all that. So it gives you that kind of a flavor. But under the hood, what is working? JavaScript only, and it is the JavaScript which you use to as a language. Sorry, it is a TypeScript which you use for the web automation part when you use any of these tools, Playwright, WebDriver IO, and the other thing, right? So I think
Hmm.
you need 2 months for JavaScript with all the hands-on, with all the learnings, and maybe 10-15 days for TypeScript, and then maybe whatever time, right? I think for Playwright, if you have covered this much, right, I don't think Playwright will take a lot of time. You could complete
Yeah.
it maybe in a month and all, right, and then you're sorted, right? And then the CI/CD part also comes in, right, where there's a different learning path to things because it will involve DevOps area then. So
Hmm.
I'm not including those over here, but I think within a span of 3 to 4 months, you could be a very good person in the testing processes, JavaScript, TypeScript, and the Playwright or any other tool which you feel to use. And CI/CD would require some time. It's not like
Yeah.
a piece of cake that you can take and can grab it.
Also, I think like CI/CD is something like which will be more used in your advanced career, like not someone who is like initial of his career or something. Like his main, you can say, roles and responsibilities in the starting will be contributing to the towards the framework and writing those test scripts and all those stuff. So probably like after 2-3 years of experience, he or she will be using CI/CD more prominently. But in the starting of the career, there will be some restrictions because CI/CD is something like where you will build your pipelines and you run those pipelines to build your product, to deploy your things onto the environment. So that can go wrong and could destroy your servers and can be like more problematic. So there are like less chances someone with like 1 year of experience or just starting his career and will found a way into the CI/CD servers and writing those pipelines. But definitely like when you are someone like who is 3-4 years of experience or 5-6 years of experience, you will be daily playing with those pipelines and running your test cases inside that.
No, no, absolutely correct, right? But what I would add over here is like it's not bad to know about it, because
Yeah,
since you
exactly.
would be working in a team and there is
Mm-hmm.
something mess up going on somewhere, and let's say there is nothing messing up, right? It's all good, all green, and you're interested to learn more, let's say, right?
Yeah.
And again, what more if you know in and out about everything in the job which you're doing, it always helps. It always helps you to
Mm-hmm.
have an upper edge, right? To be
Exactly.
prepared for that activity, it's not a very small start. You need to know a whole lot of other things to get accustomed to DevOps. You need to learn Git. You need to understand like how Git
Mm-hmm.
works. You need to learn about
Right.
a repository, let's say GitHub, right? How things are working. How do you share your code with everyone? How does a distributed team works using all this? Then you need to know about, let's say, Linux as an operating system, as a
Mm-hmm.
language, like how it works. What are the concepts around it? Then you need to learn
Mm-hmm.
about your, let's say, Docker, right? How the containerization works and all that, right? So that you can understand about the concepts. But since you have gone through
Exactly.
Linux, the
Mm-hmm.
see, I'm trying to give you the advice on DevOps here also here. If anyone is looking for that career progression in the DevOps area of testing, what you should learn in the sequences, you should learn first Linux, then you should go
Mm-hmm.
for let's say Docker. You should understand like
Mm-hmm.
how Docker works, and you should compare what is a virtual machine and what is a container, what kind of benefits it
Right.
provides, and how those containers are talking to each other, the volume mapping, the
Mm-hmm.
networking, and all that. That should be very clear. Then it should be going to the, let's say, learn one of the cloud infra. Let's take
Mm-hmm.
AWS. That's the very easiest and the good thing to start with. And one more recommendation for everyone would be, if you wanted to learn about AWS, go for, at least, if not for the exam, but go for the syllabus of a cloud practitioner, right, in AWS. It will give you
Right.
so much of learning and knowledge around AWS that you cannot,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and if you get that certification, right, it has a very good value.
Mm-hmm.
It is a
Exactly.
testament that you know things about AWS, and people can rely with your things if you do something on AWS. Okay, at least the knowing how. And the last part would be Jenkins. And last part would be Jenkins. So these four things at least you should be knowing if you wanted to work on DevOps area. But it will not happen in a day. You need a separate kind of a time for it, and it will become like a 1 year journey, right? And if you are able to do all of this in 1 year time frame, I think that's a very good start for your career, and you have figured a very strong base for yourself, and your career will have very good path over there. So that would be my advice for myself in 2025.
Yeah, that's a like great advice, and also for like AWS part. So I remember like when we are in college, so AWS just started, like cloud part is like just in entered into the market. So they have a kind of like workshop called Awesome Day, in which like it's kind of like a boot camp for 2 days and sort of a like conference where they present all the concepts of AWS at that time, like whatever they have. It's around like 10 years back. So I remember I have attended it's my in my third year of the college, and it's a great thing. We are very fascinated. Someone from the Amazon is giving a workshop, and it's in a 5-star hotel, and they represented how EC2 works and how their different projects work. So that's a similar kind of you can say group meetings or something like happens to there is also like for like Google they have a GDG group. For AWS they have a AWS community. So maybe college students or someone who is starting their career, they can join those communities and like learn from there.
Absolutely correct, right? I mean, see, the problem in our industry is people don't get enough exposure for a
Hmm.
thing to
Right.
learn, right? That is the biggest problem, because what happens is if a thing is being done through some mundane rule or routine, they tend to follow it. Okay, they are not adding something new to it. They are given, okay, this is how things are being done, follow that part. And since the things have already been designed and they have already been, set up, everything is available. You just need to go and just sit over there and observe, okay, how things are working. If
Right.
something fails, just go and do some like stitching right to that part and you're done. But how will you
Exactly.
learn the core concept? You will only learn if you get a chance to work from scratch. And I think that is the best thing which you can do for your career. Don't hesitate if you're given a challenging task in your project to finish. Never think like, okay, I'm a scapegoat. Okay, someone gave me this task and I don't know. Rather be very happy. You should be feeling very joyful. Okay, now I got the opportunity to work on something. Let and challenge myself. So right, and that is how you learn. That is how you learn. Even in your life, if everything is going rosy, you feel okay. This is how things used to be. But once life give you a kick, you start thinking, okay, I should do something else
Right. Right.
accordingly.
Right. So you need to learn new things. You need to explore new ideas. So if you don't feel that much of pressure, if you don't have that much of curiosity, you can't learn new things. You can't innovate new ways.
Absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. That zeal has to be there. That energy has to be there. Today is a new
Right.
day and
Right.
we are
Right.
going to learn something new. You should be very,
Mm-hmm.
first of all, we should be thankful for what we have. First of all, it should
Mm-hmm.
not be that we should be craving about ourselves. We got into a job which is not providing me anything. But at least you have a job. First of all, be thankful to that.
Right.
Second of all, understand like what resources you have as per your availability. What can I do inside the current thing which I'm doing? And I'm sure
Mm-hmm.
everyone has that opportunity to do. Whether you already have a framework, then you have the opportunity to learn from that existing framework. Okay, how things are running. Learn from it. That is your play area. You should learn from it.
Right.
Even if someone is asking you or not, you should be able to do that. Second, third thing, let's say there is nothing, then you have a very good opportunity to learn something and apply it here and demo it to your
Mm-hmm.
manager. But people again have a problem that in 8 hours we don't get time. What we should after that.
Right.
See,
They don't have that much of like motivation.
that is your career, right? It
Mm-hmm.
is you who has to take in control of it. Right? If those
Mm-hmm.
8 hours you're applying on the job, then it is your decision to put some extra efforts after those 8 hours on your own
Mm-hmm.
growth. No one can stop you
Exactly.
on that, at least. They can
Mm-hmm.
stop you during those 8 hours, but not after that. And I'd really advise this is a matter of couple of initial years. And once you have put on that effort, you will see that effort which you put in the initial phase, how exponential growth it will give you, right? In your coming years.
Mm-hmm.
So people should
Right.
understand
So
it and do accordingly.
exactly. Also, when I see people are discussing about that 60 hours work week, 70 hours work week. So I would say if you are in the initial of your career, if you are someone who is less than 5 years of experience and you don't have that much of responsibilities in your home, you should work for 50, 60 hours in a week. Not for your company. If you can work 30, 40 hours for your company, but take those 10, 20 hours for yourself. Try to learn things, trying to upskill yourself. That will help you to like, reduce those number of hours when you will be like much older, 15 years of experience, 10 years. If you don't want to work 40 hours in a week, when you will be like 15 years of experience in your 40s or something, then work at least 60 hours a week in your 20s, in your early 30s.
Manish, again, on this part, I would say, see, it should be on the satisfaction level. If what you are targeting, target should be met.
Right.
We should not look at the clock, okay, like, okay, how much time we have already spent on. No, we should be tracking like how much of the progress we have made in the achieving that objective. That is how we should measure
Exactly.
things. But again, see, we should, okay, I'm not saying that you should work for the project. I'm not saying that part, right? For project, you should be working as much as you're paid for, right? I'm not saying that, okay, you are being paid for 40 hours and you are asked to do for 80 hours. No, that is not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is try to improve yourself and set a target for yourself after every milestone you achieve. It should not be
Right.
that, okay, I achieved something, now I know everything. Even after 14 years of career, it's not that I'm just working 8 hours a day. No, I am working 8 to 9 hours a day for my job, and then maybe I'm working similar time. I'm spending that much time on the other activities to learn further. So it's like
Right.
15, 16 hours which I'm putting from my own, through a day to everything which I'm doing for my career. So, and if you take it stands up, I think 90 hours or let's say more than 100 hours. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
If you start enjoying that process, right, time does not matter. And again, when someone said, and that renowned personality said about 70 hours, He was not saying that you should work for the company. He's not saying that part.
Mm-hmm.
He's saying that you should
Exactly.
work right. It should not be a leisure for you that okay, we work for 40 hours and for the remaining hours of our week,
Right.
we will
Exactly.
do nothing. We will go and just sit and enjoy. That is,
Mm-hmm.
he has a problem on, right? He is not saying that, okay, 40 hours, no, instead of 40, you should spend 100 hours for the company. He's not saying that part.
Exactly.
But people take out of context, right, of all the things. So that is where the problem occurs.
Exactly. So they want to have a controversy around it, and that's it. So they are not going deep, like why someone is saying that part, or like why, because people compare themselves or their lives from the West, where they have a lot of resources, their governments are very stable, they can pay you even if you are not working a single working hour. But in
See,
India, it's a bit difficult. You need to upskill yourself. You need to earn the things by on your own. No one gonna come to like help you, or no one gonna come to like give you the things what you are like desiring here. So
absolutely
there's
correct, right?
something different where we are living.
No, absolutely correct, right? And again, if I talk about this scenario, see, every country is
Hmm.
a different case. We have to look at our
Exactly.
roots, like from where we started and from where they started. America did not
Hmm.
get its freedom like 50 years back, right? It's a free country, I
Exactly.
think more than 250 years. I don't know, maybe more than
Hmm.
that. And again, try to see the nation needs to be built up. When someone of a renowned personality is saying that you should work maybe more for the growth, he is not just saying about yourself. He is saying about the
Hmm.
nation collectively. Okay,
Exactly.
if you are working, those countries have already worked. They have a very less population. They have less
Hmm.
things to worry about, and they have done their part, and now they're sitting on top. So they can dictate terms and
Right.
they can ask others to work instead of them, and they can have a leisure. But we are
Hmm.
coming from a country where we are still evolving, and our GDP and all that, right? If we start taking those calculations apart from it, a single addition of the day to the productivity can have immense effect in the overall part. And that is where the statement was coming from. And again, I'm not saying go and work for 6 days and all. I'm not saying any of this, but I'm saying
Hmm.
spend time on yourself, on your skills, on your growth, so that life can be better in the future. If
Right.
not today, it can be
Right. Right.
better in future. So that is how it should be.
Hmm. Exactly. Okay, so let's move forward. So these are kind of more philanthropic talks. So let's move towards testing again. Okay, so what are your thoughts over like currently people are more focused towards the tools rather than learning the concepts. So what do you suggest? Should we learn the concepts first, or is it just learn those tools like Playwright, Selenium, and get the job and do your work?
See again, when I will be answering this, try to understand. I'm answering from my own experiences, like how it should be. And I think that
Mm-hmm.
the way it has really helped me, or the way which I see it helps generally. So
Right.
rather than going for a tool in automation, let's say we have tools now coming up who says no code tool and all. So then in that case, you don't
Mm-hmm.
need to learn anything. Just go and
Exactly.
pay the subscription and maybe start using it, right? But think,
Mm-hmm.
see, try to think like how is it helping you? How is it helping you as an individual? It can help a
Mm-hmm.
company, okay? It can help an organization maybe to get things done faster, right? But again, is it maintainable? Is it scalable,
Mm-hmm.
right? I don't know, right? Let's see, like I don't know, like I have not used them, so I don't know. I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem is, right? What as an individual are you learning from it? I don't think you learn anything from it apart from knowing the workflow and that no code thing. Okay, how to move things here and there and maybe drag and drop and all that. You can learn
Right.
that part, but is it really adding
Mm-hmm.
any tangible learning right in your brain over there? I don't think. I don't agree, and I feel it should not be the case. So now coming to our original question, that playwright and the language part. If you have to use any tool, playwright can be written or consumed in any of the languages. Java,
Right.
JavaScript, and all other languages. So try to understand, if you have to consume Playwright, there is a specific thing that you have to learn first. I would
Mm-hmm.
say, please go and work on your language and work on the core concept of those languages first, rather than mugging up how to automate a flow. Okay, we
Mm-hmm.
got our locator, we got this click button, someone told me, and let me just paste it and just click on it. No, man, you should not be doing that. I feel it's like you should be knowing how things are working on the core part. You should ask yourself, okay, if this is working, why is it working? How is it working, right? What is the background scene where all the things are happening that way? Right? You should keep asking. That is what I
Mm-hmm.
do for myself. If I am not understanding the code, maybe which I got from someone, or maybe a concept I'm not getting, whom I can ask. Like earlier, we used to ask Google, Devta, that okay, please tell me, okay, this is how things are. please tell me the answer. And then you were given a pile of links to go through, and you were spending 2 or 3 hours, right, just scratching your head and all that. Now with Copilot and generative AI, it has sorted a lot for me at least. I can just go and open it up and ask my queries directly, and I get very prompt answers, very specific answers, tailor made for my queries. Okay, and that is my like a tutor, right? It's like a tutor to me, or it's like a friend to me. I can just go and ask, and I can get the advice, and I can get my thoughts cleared. But getting an answer and just keeping it here and not practicing is the next big flaw, right? Which we have in our learning process. If you learn something, right,
Right.
go and practice. Go and practice and make sure that what you learned is what is you are seeing in the actual part. If that is matching, then it will fit here. Otherwise, it's just a new learning which will reside here for a days and then it will go away. So I think core concepts are the thing, right? In anything which you do, right? In life, right? Not just for Playwright or for JavaScript or maybe some further languages. I think if you understand the fundamentals of anything, that is how you can control over the entire thing. It's a basic building block. We say, right? If we have to, I mean, maybe make a building, it's the basic, it's the base foundation which has to be very strong. If you have a very strong foundation, you can make any a tower on top of it to
Right.
do
Right.
in your career, right? So that is the whole point. The core concept should be very clear. I don't care about tools. Tools will come and go. It's the part of the concept which should be very clear. Yeah. So that's my whole point about.
Yeah. So you have put it like very well. And now moving forward, so you have code test, you create a lot of content. So what is your motivation to do all those stuff? As you say, you're having a boot camp every day. You will be teaching the students for 2.5 hours and doing that rigorously from I think you have started it from like since when like you are doing that part.
Okay. See, regarding that bootcamp part, right, which I have been doing, it is from
Mm-hmm.
4th of March this year, right, 2024. I started with a thought in my head that okay, I feel that people in QA estate field, right, knows a very little about everything, right, and they should get a chance to learn everything by just not
Mm-hmm.
reading, but by seeing
Mm-hmm.
and maybe by seeing the actual thing, right, which really happens in the
Right.
real projects. Not just like okay, how to click on a button. No, we
Mm-hmm.
should. There is a whole lot of learning before that to be done. So I started it
Mm-hmm.
with that intention, right, and I started on 4th of March. It's been almost 10 months now, where I am taking classes on a daily basis in the evening for 2 or 2.5 hours. This is the evening thing, and the morning I take DSA classes where I'm teaching
Okay.
students
So
to be prepared for DSA.
it takes immense energy. So you need to be there. You need to be with students, and there are like hundreds of doubts with the students. So how can you maintain this energy, and what motivates to do that part? So how do you have started your content journey, and how it helps you as well as your students to stay ahead into the competition, or you can say in the industry itself.
See, I did not started it with the intention of teaching the students, right? I just
Mm-hmm.
came up with a thought, okay, let's that I think that I know a bit about because of my experience in the industry, I know a bit more about like how things are internally working. And when I
Mm-hmm.
was taking interviews or when I was talking to the freshers or maybe my juniors, I always get a sense of thing that okay, like there is some fundamentally there is something wrong in the way they are thinking because that is
Mm-hmm.
how they have learned the things. They just have mugged up
Right.
the things, right? And they were able to get the job because of using that cheat sheet which people get from different sources
Mm-hmm.
and like interview cheat sheets. Okay, that the people are also providing today in on LinkedIn. Go and grab it for
Right.
500 rupees and you will get a cheat sheet. But
Mm-hmm.
how does it help you to become? I mean, to become better in your career? I don't know, but it may help you
Right.
in getting an interview, which is okay, which is
Mm-hmm.
fine. And I am totally agree with that. Okay, it's the money which always matters. So if it is
Mm-hmm.
getting your job, please go and do that. But it's the
Mm-hmm.
career which you should also think about. So I felt that there is a very huge gap, and I thought let's start and try to see like what is the response. And I started my
Mm-hmm.
YouTube channel, which is at the rate podcast. And I think I started I connected one automation architect bootcamp, okay, which was free, which I started last year during the same time, maybe in December time frame. I asked the LinkedIn about like I mean if someone would be interested to be a part of it.
Mm-hmm.
You would not believe, but I got 1,000 response in a couple of days, and people shared their email IDs to receive the notification for all of that.
Mm-hmm.
I was able to conduct 5 different sessions. You can check on my YouTube channel. So there are 5 different sessions, and the views, right, which I got on those particular sessions was immense. And the kind of discussion we had in that 1 hour journey, right, it made me realize, and even it made them realize that, okay, testing is not just about learning the process and all, right? I mean,
Right.
as someone, right, who's working in the IT as a software engineer, right, there's whole lot of things which you need to run, and I'm trying to bring it to the on a screen based on my 14 years of experience. So I'm trying to bring it here and making it more interesting and all. And before that, how did I got the motivation to be here? Because I write a lot of posts on LinkedIn. I find LinkedIn to be a very good platform for people to communicate and maybe share their thoughts and their learning. So I started from there. 1 year back, I kept giving the posts and all, and I got a lot of traction from it. So people suggested, okay, why don't you give the sessions? And people were saying, okay, you write a lot of posts. I mean, but you are like someone like who just write. He does not. I mean, it is not in the actions. So I thought, okay, great.
Right.
Let me try this also. So I tried it, and I got good response. And then what happened was, I also, after my YouTube channel, I got offers from GeeksForGeeks. So they reached out to
Okay.
me and said that, okay, Akhil, can you please conduct our bootcamp, which you are trying to have with Java, with Selenium, CI/CD integrated and all for our batch. So I conducted 4 different bootcamps for GeeksForGeeks. And then
That's great.
TestTribe thing happened. So I had a discussion with Mahesh and Ashutosh for different things. So Mahesh, I had an interaction for that recorded courses of mine, which is Java with Selenium, which is available on TestTribe. So I think there are like 2,000 plus students already enrolled into the program, and it is one of the very good selling courses over there, right? And again, I got a lot of traction from there because people get to know about my teaching methodology from there, and a lot of people reached out to me on LinkedIn saying that, Akhil, are you
Right.
doing something extra apart from it? And then Strive, right, I also conducted 2 different boot camps for Java with Selenium. But I was doing this Java with Selenium for for almost 6-7 months. Then I thought, okay, let me stop. I think people have enough of the content already available on it. So I started with
Exactly.
JavaScript, TypeScript, right, and all this. So currently, our JavaScript bootcamp is running, where we were able to complete JavaScript thing, Node.js, NPM. Currently, we are working on TypeScript, and JavaScript DSA is also running parallelly. So
Okay.
coming months, right, January, February, March, we will be winding up Playwright, WebDriver IO, and the Cypress. So you can see, right, the path which I told you right now, right, that is a path students should take. I'm already following that path, and I'm teaching my students. There are already 50 plus students who are the paid students to those programs, who are part of it and learning it daily basis. So it is a rigorous process as a student to be a part of it. I understand that part, but it's not that you have to learn everything on a daily basis. You sometimes when you are sitting, right, continuously for different sessions, you at least get to know, okay, this is what we should be knowing, and you do have the access to everything. I provide access to students for 3 years, all the recording videos. So it's not that you have to learn today only, but
Right.
clears your thoughts. Okay, how things are working. People have a lot of questions on promises. How promises are working. I mean, I can show it to anyone, right? But what is happening is, like, I showed them what really promises, how things are happening behind the scenes. And once you start understanding from that background, things start clicking. You start connecting your things which were done in the project, and you start thinking, this is how it was implemented there. Okay, now it makes sense. So this is how it should be, and this is where I started. As part of my journey, we started on 4th of March. Today is December. It has been running from then there. I'm trying to run
Right.
a full stack bootcamp where it should include Java with Selenium from web, JavaScript, TypeScript, Playwright, WebDriver IO, Cypress with web. After that, after March, right, I have the intention to start my API testing bootcamp. After that, there is an intention to start my mobile automation bootcamp. So you can understand, right? I'm not repeating myself. I'm trying to provide the content on different topics, right? So that people should have
Right.
the in-depth knowledge around them. I think they are missing currently in the industry, and people are, I should say, they are suffering because of that knowledge gap. People don't have that required knowledge which should be there with them. And all of this being connected, I term it as like a full stack bootcamp. And this is what I started with the intent on 4th of March. So some people joined there, some people joined only for JavaScript, some people only joined for Java, and maybe some people will join for API and then for mobile. And then maybe in the end, I have also the intention to start an AI bootcamp. Let's see what I will do there, but I don't have a roadmap for it. So that is the whole
Yes.
journey about the
Yes.
program.
So that's a like great way to do the progression. So this is something like in my like last podcast. So I sat with Ashutosh. Ashutosh also told me like this is the value of a mentor. When you will be doing the things on your own, so will be you will do it if you have the zeal, you will do it, but the path will be a bit longer
Sure, sure.
because you will try something, then you will fail, then you will understand like now what I needs to do, and you will take some more time to reach there. But if someone is guiding you, he will be guiding you through the all the progression from step by step. You will reach there a bit early, and you will reach there in more quality way rather than just like going here and there. So this is something like which is a true value of mentor. So this is something which we feel if someone will be there in our initial days of career, we could have like achieved those things a bit early. So that's a like great work you are doing. So Akhil, now we will have a rapid fire round. I will be asking few questions with you, so you just need to give me quick answers, no explanations needed,
Okay.
just your thoughts on to that. Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
I'll
So
try my
the
best.
first
Sure.
question is, what is the like most overrated testing tool you think?
Most overrated. I think it would be Cucumber.
Okay.
It would be Cucumber. No better answer than that. It would be Cucumber.
Yeah. So perfectly, like I agree with you. uh, okay. So second one will be testing fundamentals or automation, which is more harder to master.
Okay. See, I mean, I don't have a single answer for it, but I would say, right, these are two different things. People should
Mm-hmm.
try to take advantages of both of them, know both the paths, and try to use them together for their own journey.
Mm-hmm.
That is how we should look at it. It's not that
Right.
you learn manual testing, so now you will be able to understand automation. No, that is not how things works, and it is not even the other way around. That if you understand automation, then only you will understand testing. No, these are two
Mm-hmm.
different things. You have to start working on both of them being into the testing profession. So that is how it should be. And I would say from the technical point of view, if I need to challenge it accordingly, I would say it's not the how to learn automation. No, it is like the learning the fact that there is a need to learn something every day and keep improving. I think that is what the real meaning of that engineering part is, and that reflects very well in the automation part. When it comes to
Mm-hmm.
testing fundamentals, those are definitely needed because you being a tester, right? Those has to be with you, right? You need to have that kind of a mindset. You need to understand like how things are working, and you need to ask the right questions to the person. So both are important, but I would say from a technical point of view, I would say automation has a bigger ask from the effort side from your side. So I would
Got
say
it.
automation over there, if I have to say.
Okay, that's great. Okay, so the last one is, what is your go-to resource for learning new things or keeping yourself up to date into the testing field?
Okay. See, I mean, again, there are not just one way. There are multiple ways. It's
Mm-hmm.
not like I get answers
Right.
from one thing. But the first
Mm-hmm.
official, the thing is like to get to the official website of a thing which I'm
Mm-hmm.
looking to learn. Let's say if I'm looking to learn Cucumber, my first
Mm-hmm.
thing would be to go to Google and search for a reference site of that Cucumber. I will go over it, go through the entire thing, try to go through the documentation, and try to see does it make sense to me. And by
Mm-hmm.
connecting what I already know in the industry, right? So I connect to that knowledge and try to see how much I am able to understand. So that is one way of learning things. Second of all, I might go. I usually don't go to YouTube. Okay, I usually don't go to
Mm-hmm.
YouTube to the channels because the learning over there, right, are too much scattered, and you have to find a lot of
Right,
content over
right.
there. So I
Mm-hmm.
always get disoriented. I mean, I'm not able to find right resources. I don't know like what will have what. So I rather go to Udemy or maybe some other platform to see like what content or what courses are already built and how many
Mm-hmm.
ratings and how many viewers are there. And then I just go there and try to see the syllabus. Okay, this is the path which I need to take by reading the syllabus. Okay, this is the path which I need to take if I want to become something right around this topic. And again, if I usually don't take courses from let's say very renowned people in the in the testing space because I feel that what they provide over here is very basic concepts. Rather,
Mm-hmm.
I look for the developer side. Let's say if I have to learn JavaScript, I would not be looking for a QA person who would be providing it because based on my experience, I've never seen a course which is so fundamentally or detailed around all the topics. Rather, I will go for a
Mm-hmm.
developer who would have provided that content knowledge based on his experience, and then I'm learning through it. So I try to take those courses also. And
Right.
from there, I'm able to understand in and out about it. Then the last part is to go and practice and ask Copilot about all my queries. So these are like 4 or 5 things which I take to learn things. And the last thing is about going to the project where I need to implement and ask the real person where to be apply and talk about the strategy and all that, right? So you get to know the answers from the real world also. You learn something, but when it comes to applying it, it's a different game altogether. So that is how the learning.
Right. Okay. So this is something which I also follow. So YouTube have very unstructured way of doing the things. If I need to learn something today, so I will also try to get a like Udemy course. So Udemy courses are like much cheaper,
Right.
and I don't go for the content they have. I mostly go the structured way they have for courses. You will get a progression path. Then suppose something is not clear from there, then I can go to the YouTube and search for that term and search for that topic and learn from the YouTube. But I also need that structuring onto the Udemy, how I will progress step by step. So this is something which I also follow.
No,
Okay, so
and that's a good path actually to do. Right? You get to know about, see, if you're sitting for IIT, if you're preparing for IIT,
right,
you need to know like what is the syllabus of it, right? And usually
exactly.
you will get that kind of an information if you look it from the lenses of SDET or a QA. If someone is looking to learn from it, you get the clarity of thought. Okay, this is what I need to learn. This is what I need to learn when you look at the syllabus on Udemy from a prominent course which is getting a lot of traction on it. So that really helps. So yeah, that is how
Okay.
it takes.
Okay, so I think and now we are into the like final step of our podcast. So what are your final thoughts or any advice for our viewers? So anything related to testing or relating to career or relating to life. So whatever you want to say to our viewers, over to you.
Okay. Yep, sure. I mean, only one piece of advice, right? People talk a lot about AI. People talk a lot about AI and they feel like, okay, AI is something, I mean, which we have got the power and there is nothing required for me to learn something now, right? Because I'll get all the answers from AI. Please
Right.
understand, right? You might feel that way as of now, right? Might be, maybe. I don't feel that way even today if I know certain things right now. But I feel right that is the best. Not the best. That is the worst thing, right? Which is happening with you, right? Because you are losing the essence of learning from the core thing. You are missing
Right.
out on the opportunity to learn from the reference documents. Try to look back on your college days. Right? You might have heard that reading from like a kunji, right, where you get the answers from your questions. That could be a good
Exactly.
thing.
That
That can help you
that
something.
like last 12 years or last 10 years questions
Right,
and
right,
answers.
right. You can get, maybe you will get some questions from it, but the actual things are lying in the books which you were given on day one of your joining the session, which is the reference
Right.
books where all the knowledge are residing. So try to follow that same process in the industry, not as that industry. You should try to look from the real source of knowledge, which is the inventor or the creator who designed it. No one knows better than him. No one knows better than the company who generated it. Try to learn
Right.
things from there first. And again, I understand some documentations are not good enough, but it gives you a sense to know like what should be done. Okay. And please work on the core concepts and use AI just to enhance your existing knowledge. Don't just depend on AI. Okay. If AI will give me, only then I will do. No, that is, you're doing a very bad thing for your career. We are not we are into the estate domain and all, right? So we should be trying to evolve ourselves on a daily basis, not just depend on something which might replace you also. So try to think from that perspective.
Okay, that's great. Thanks, Akhil. So it was a lovely conversation. We discussed a lot of points, and it's a great thing. So someone who is starting his career or someone who is starting to learn the automation part, definitely we will get a immense knowledge from out of it. So thanks again, thanks Akhil for
Thank you,
being
Manish.
here for our viewers.
Thank you so much, Manish, and thank you so much. And I think you're doing a good job by providing these kind of sessions where you're trying to bring out the knowledge or the progress path, right? Which the aspiring QAs or estates, whether they are freshers or they are struggling in their current job and trying to make
Right.
some transitions. People need some clarity around it, and I'm very glad that in our industry today we have a lot of podcasts which are trying to provide a lot of insights around it. So it always helps, at least to the people who are looking for that help. Maybe not for
Exactly.
everyone, but at least for the people, because not everyone get that kind of say, right, from all the places. My go-to places, my go-to person would be very limited. But because of
Right.
your channels and people like you, right, are giving a
Mm-hmm.
way for students or fellow learners to get to know about, like, okay, what actually the path looks like. So it's a
Right.
very
Right.
good
Right.
thing, and I mean,
Mm-hmm.
my congratulations to you also for starting this and being a part on the industry on this side also. Great.
Thanks. Thanks, Akhil.